Brooke, we've seen an odd number of cartwheels at training camp just
really
over the past
odd number of cartwheels. Yes, this is true. Welcome back to Saloon, presented by Cisco. We are officially 3 days into training camp. Aubrey, we have had the opportunity to be out there on the field with the fans, with the players, really to give the faithful the lowdown of everything that's going on training camp. What have you seen from sights and sounds?
Covering training camp is difficult. I thought maybe we would go out there, be in the sun, be beautiful, just get a nice tan, and then watch these players really go to work. And man, it is right out of the gate. There was so much energy coming from the team. How I see Dre Greenlaw really just big smiles as he walked out for day one, and also the fans coming out and filling the stands with just energy and lots of cheering and yelling their favorite players' names. It truly is a very unique NFL experience for a fan and for rookies and veterans alike too.
Fun. Yeah, no, it's awesome. And I think you hit it right on the nail. Energy is the word of this training camp. I think from day one, it was so blatantly obvious how much energy this team has and how excited they were to be back in the building. And I think it's really interesting because sometimes training camp can start out a bit slower and the guys, ease into it. It's the middle of summer, it's hot. But no, these guys were ready to roll come day one, setting the tone, setting the energy. And I actually loved this quote that Chris Forrester said after practice. He said, "We've got a bunch of guys that love playing football. They love being back." And I think that's exactly what these past couple of days have felt like.
Yes. And everyone's excited to be back. Although there was, kind of a stir up in the media going into that opening press conference where we heard from John Lynch. We were thinking we were going to talk about, maybe schedules and players, injured players and whatnot. But, there was a really big headline coming into day one.
Yes. So one of the biggest storylines coming into camp wasn't necessarily about football, but Kyle Shanahan. And I think, after talking to the media, talking with several coaches and players about this, the number one thing that sticks out to me is the organization has not skipped a beat. And I think that is such a beautiful thing and on the wave of continuity. And I know you mentioned that and how it's been between all the coaches, all the players, all the staff is the number one thing that has come out of this is there's continuity and everyone's got their back, right? The I got your back mentality that we see in that locker room holds strong for coaching staff as well. And I think it's really cool to see that. And, Fred Warner and other veterans have also said, he's in good spirits. We're ready to roll. We're a well-oiled machine. And I think that's exactly what this past few days have felt like.
Yeah, so the team did announce that Chris Forrester was going to take over the reins when it comes to head coaching. But when you talked to Coach Forrester and when you talked to Raheem Morris, it was more just everyone all on deck, right?
It's a group effort.
Exactly. Forrester talked about not being able to replicate Kyle Shanahan's energy. He talked specifically about not being able to give those really inspirational speeches that Kyle is known for just because he's such a football guy. But when it comes to Forrester stepping up, but also getting his position group ready, Clay Kubiak coming in, calling plays for during training camp. It's not that he hasn't had any experience calling plays before. He did preseason games last year.
100%.
So it's a group effort, and also veterans are going to be stepping into a little bit of coaching roles too. Is also what they talked about as well.
Yeah.
So truly, Kyle Shanahan,
special.
It is so special.
I mean, that means a lot for the team too, to have a veteran step up in a way that you need to see him step up in season, and they're having to do so early on and really get to do so. And that's the feeling that we're feeling from them, right? They get to do these things. And you mentioned Clay Kubiak and Raheem. Raheem has also had opportunities coaching as a head coach, over at the Falcons. So, like to echo what you were saying, it's a group thing. And they all said, we'll all take a piece of it. So cool to see that collaboration across the board there.
Yeah. There's so much chemistry. There's so much. You can see it. You can see it. Even with the rookies too. So many of our veterans are coming in and just praising the rookies about being ready for training camp, because that's always something, that's new for them too, right? Is coming in and being ready day one. Yeah. So it is really, really exciting to see the chemistry already there.
It is already there. Already shining. And also just have to note, Kyle Shanahan has been out at practice. We have seen him a handful of times, so it's good to see him still there. His presence is definitely still felt. The rookies still see him. The players are still interacting, so great to see that.
Yeah.
They love it.
Trent said you weren't going to be able to keep him away.
No, Trent actually joked saying, I knew it would be hard to keep him away from football, so that's super cool to see. But just to dive a little bit more into training camp and get you guys a little more into the injury updates and the storylines here, health-wise, there are definitely some good, encouraging updates. It's just great to see Fred Warner back out there. He has been listed as a full participant, and man, has he been a full participant, vocal and all. Super cool to see him also with Dre Greenlaw doing the duo thing back there. So that's been awesome to see. As well as defensive lineman Nick Bosa. He was not put on the PUP list, so he has been out there, but really in individual workouts. And then today we actually saw him participate in team drills. So the progression is great. And I think something that was really cool to hear from Trent Williams on Bosa, he said, day one, I couldn't even tell that he had an injury or that he came back from anything. Bosa looks better than he did before I saw him last year. I mean, how cool. Like, what a testament to his work ethic, right?
Being on the sideline, I mean, I would say so too. He is just, I mean, I can't even imagine what he looks like out of shape. He's just always, he is always ready. He has the same, we talked about the aura. He has the same, aura as Fred does.
Out there. They got this like glowing aura to them out there. And it is just so fun to watch that aura glow, right? On the field. And I'm not kidding. It's truly cool to see them out there with their aura.
Yeah, exactly.
We actually joked earlier too about Mac Jones. He's got some aura to him out there. It's a little bit different than Fred Warner's and Nick's aura, but definitely cool to see all the guys out there. But more updates on the injury front. From the PUP list, we actually have seen Alfred Collins out there today. We saw him running around in circles, doing his thing, individual workouts.
We called it a duck, duck, goose drill.
We did call it a duck, duck, goose drill.
Run in circle. Yeah.
There's obviously a lot more behind it, what they're doing.
So much more.
But to the naked eye, that's what it looked like to me. And then we saw Isaac Guerrero out there doing individual workouts. We saw Kittle out there. He has not been doing workouts, but he's been a great cheerleader, really involved with the fans out there too, which is cool. And then we have not seen Michael Williams.
Yeah, but I'm sure they're putting in their work. Yeah, just not where media is going to be able to see him out there.
Just not yet, you guys. And then as for injuries on the training camp front, day one, offensive lineman Vidarian Lowe exited after a few snaps. He has a high ankle sprain. We have not seen Christian Kirk play. He has a calf strain. Grayson Halton has a knee bone bruise, so we not have seen him either. And those bone bruises hurt, so totally fair on that end. And then Romello Height actually was carted off day two. It looked kind of serious, a little serious situation there. But then Raheem Morris came on after the practice and said that he was experiencing severe cramps. So we actually saw him out there today with a smiling face and was looking great as ever. So good to see him back and healthy again. And then today, a few injury updates. Jordan James has a rib fracture. Malik Mustafa, hamstring strain. And then Ricky Pearsall has a swollen knee from his previous injuries. So that is all we got on the injury front. We're definitely going to keep a few eyes out on that, so stay tuned for more updates. But let's just jump into more of the storylines. I mean, let's talk about that wide receiver room. One of the most endearing storylines that everyone has been so excited to follow coming into this training camp has been Mike Evans in that wide receiver room. And one of the coolest things that I think that I have seen, as well as you with our two eyes out there on the sideline, has been that chemistry building between Mike Evans and Brock Purdy. From day one, Mike Evans said that one of the reasons why he came here was for Brock. Yeah. You mentioned that earlier, and I cannot agree more how cool it is that he came here for Brock, and then Brock came on in a press conference to say that he grew up watching him, and now he gets to throw to him, and how surreal that experience is for him.
Yeah. It's the same with the cornerbacks as well. Demo talked in a press conference about, even just being able to oppose him on the line. Yeah. And looking at a face you grew up watching, and, now you're in charge of making sure he doesn't get out of your containment. I can imagine.
Light job.
So
easy job, right?
Yeah, exactly. And so what that kind of does is every group, that group becomes better because the 49ers have Mike Evans. Yeah. And I think that is exactly what John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan were going for when they signed Mike Evans to the deal. Yeah. And we are already seeing it take place in week 1.
I mean, in every single press conference that we've heard from coaches or players, every single one of them has praised Evans for his football IQ, his size, his speed, his catch radius, all things, the way he's able to create separation, all good things. But speaking on the wide receiver room, someone that is learning from Mike Evans, and I got the chance to talk to yesterday after practice, is Jacob Cowing. He had an interesting journey last year with an unexpected setback with that injury. So getting to hear his perspective, all healthy and better now, and his perspective on learning from Mike. He said, I'm really trying to absorb everything I can from Mike Evans. I'm learning how to separate better, winning those battles one-on-one. And I think that's huge. And it's definitely someone you need to keep your eye out on for this training camp, because he has put in that work. We see him putting in the work after practice. He'll get a few reps in. And later on in this show, we'll show you guys that interview. And I'm super excited to do so. And he's a great guy.
Yeah. We heard from Clay Kubiak at the start of training camp today. And he just praised the growth of the wide receiver room from last year to this year. That's not only adding Mike Evans, but it's also the improvement of the guys that we still have.
Yep.
Ricky Pearsall.
Yeah.
The return of Jacob Cowing.
Yeah.
It is very exciting.
Special room. And we can't not talk about him. I mean,
Strip.
You look at the glowing smile on Aubrey's face. You guys, I think one of the biggest surprise storylines, maybe not necessarily surprise, but storylines coming out of this training camp from the past 3 days. Obviously, we were waiting for pads still, but just from the past 3 days, rookie Deshaun Stribling. Oh my gosh, this guy is on fire, you guys.
Truly.
It was so cool to watch, right?
It was. He has like a different, I think, make about him than what I was really expecting. He's tall.
Very tall.
He's
a great target.
Yes.
Great target for both our quarterbacks.
Yep. And he is, the media was talking about it. Brock Purdy talked about it as well. Just that he looks, coming out as a rookie, he looks ready. And it has been truly incredible to watch him receive targets from Mac, receive targets from Brock.
He's very involved.
He is.
And he's very speedy, and he's showing that, every single day. Actually, earlier today, before the 11-on-11 happened, we saw him run so fast, his cleats were falling off his feet. So he threw on a nice pair of bright green ones. So we could definitely spot him
I said
from
Nelly
far
from
away.
The Longest Yard. You have no idea what that reference is, but Nelly in The Longest Yard ran out of his cleats. And
that's exactly what Deshaun Stribling did today. He ran straight out of his cleats. That's how fast he is.
Yeah.
But one of the things that Brock Purdy also said is that he understands route depths, the details, the alignment, and that's a whole other language for rookies. Yeah. And then he said that he's proven to all of us that he's reliable and we can trust him. So obviously it's only day 2, and that's definitely a spot that there's a lot of eyes on, a lot of competition. But just the fact that your franchise quarterback is saying that about you, means a lot, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So definitely a lot of guys that we're talking about when it comes to that receiver room. And now you mentioned on the other side of the ball, on defensive side of things, we have a new defensive coordinator. I think Raheem Morris has really made an interesting and impressive first impression.
Yeah.
Everyone has had such great things to say about him. And, this identity still feels like the 49ers. Is exactly what he said when he first came in. He said, I'm not going to try to overhaul this defense, right? But there's definitely some new wrinkles in a good way, right?
Yes.
There's some new folds that we're adding into, new schemes. Brock talked about how sticky the coverage has been, and then he said those windows are tight. And I think that's exactly what we saw on day 2 when we saw the secondary come up with so many pass breakups and so many interceptions.
Yeah.
So, they're putting in the work, and you can feel it. And Brock Purdy even said, yeah, it's tight. We can feel them. We can feel that Fred Warner and Dre Greenlaw are back there together, and we can feel that there's some things moving around in the defense. Raheem putting a little bit more trust into that secondary. A few new schemes happening. Instead of the 4 down front, the 5 down front.
Yeah, they've been toying between both of those.
Yeah.
I would say at training camp, they're doing a lot more reps as a 4-man front right now. Mm-hmm. But when they do have that 5 men down, you can see how the offense shifts.
Yeah.
Quick passes is one thing, and truly not quite as many runs as well.
Yeah.
So we are looking forward to seeing where the 5-man progresses, because they're, like I said, they are mixing it right now.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's also really important too. Like a lot of players have mentioned, it's the modern way. They're playing.
Yeah.
The NFL right now is using a lot more of the 5-man front.
Mm-hmm.
And so being able to play against that during training camp is a huge leg up, right?
And it affects every position on the field.
Yeah.
Right. And especially those cornerbacks, when you think, oh, there's 5 men down. Oh, well, now there's going to be some extra receivers that you need
like
to.
I said, like Raheem is putting a lot more trust into them.
Demo talked about it. Renardo Green talked about it, that Raheem is allowing them to play fast and be very reactive.
Yes.
So instead of overthinking things or having to, mentally break down things, they said that Raheem is just allowing them to play, to react, to be fast. And that's kind of what that new defense is looking like when it comes to the cornerback position.
Yeah. And I think what's cool, what Raheem himself said, he said, this isn't my defense. This is a defense we're building for the Niners. And I think that's so, amazing to hear that from someone coming in. And I just think he's such a great fit here. And I think the players feel that too.
It's great when you have the pieces already and you go, how can I make this defense
the best it can be,
thrive
right?
with the pieces that we already have, right? Because it's not like we are going out and picking up a lot of big, defensive pieces, because the Warners are there. The Dre's are there.
We have the foundation there.
Yeah.
And, you can hear that on the field too, right? And you have those leaders that are stepping up and being so vocal. I mean, it's, it's hard not to miss that, right? And then you also see Raheem on the field too, talking to the cornerbacks, talking to his team during these 11-on drills. And I don't know what they're talking about, but it looks like he's pumping them up. So I think that's also really cool. And Raheem basically explained that with this new defensive scheme is that it's all about creating versatility as well. Trying to predict what the offense is going to do. You dictate what you want on offense, you create versatility, and then you take advantage of the players that you have. So,
man, defense is so hard.
Yeah, it is.
Defense
is so
hard. There is so much that goes on just before the snap when it comes to defense.
They're reading. Yeah, there's a lot that's going on behind there, but everything that he just said about taking advantage of the players is everything that we're echoing here. And, I think the past few days of training camp have really showed that the secondary is getting a little bit more of that trust. So cool to see that come out.
Yeah.
Some defensive standouts that we have too, with interceptions, coming up with some interceptions, we had Eli Apple, Jair Brown, and Jack Jones. Some pass breakups, Renardo Green has been great. That's who just spoke to us. Upton Stout, and then Jack Jones again. So, and then obviously can't forget about our favorite duo, Fred and Dre.
I know. It's almost gotten lost a little bit. We're like, but that's right. We haven't even seen Fred and Dre
in action.
In pads.
Not even in pads. I know. Guys, we're getting a little out of ourselves. But so just on that, I just want to sum it up. Like, I think the first 2 days, the word would be energy and continuity. I know you touched on that point a little bit, and with Kyle recovering, a new defensive coordinator, several new faces, right?
Yeah, that's right. There's a lot that's new.
But everything has felt very steady and very consistent.
Yes.
So I think that's really cool. Chris Forrester talked about being group effort. Trent Williams has said the team is basically on autopilot, and the veterans know the standard. Fred Warner, business as usual.
Kubiak even referred to the wide receiver room as, taking a step up, but having continuity. So it's all, again, business as usual.
Anyways, another fun thing that we decided to do was kind of break down some practice highlights, bring you guys a little bit of what's happening on the field here. So we're each going to go through and name our top offensive highlight and then our top defensive highlight. For me, I'll start it off.
Offense.
Our offensive highlight. We actually have not gotten to talk a lot about our running backs yet. And I cannot wait to, because there's so much to talk about and only so many minutes in the day and so many minutes for the show. So we're super excited to talk about. But my favorite plays have been watching Kalon Black just absolutely dominate in his run game. He's been just obviously a rookie here. So been able to come out of his shell and just really show people what he's all about. He came off a national championship win after leaving Indiana and then getting drafted here. So that's been really cool. But it seems like there hasn't been a break for him. I mean, he has just consistently been a really great running back coming out of the backfield for our team. He's flashing his speed and showing his decisiveness as a runner, which is so, rare to see as a rookie. And we actually heard from Colton McKivitz, a veteran offensive lineman here, about how rare that is. And he praised him after practice and said he's a fast and hard running back, which is nice to see. When you get young guys like that come in and can just hit the hole and hit it fast, and there's no question about it, it makes our job easier.
Yeah. Christian McCaffrey also in his presser talked about how, Christian took a lot of snaps early on, like day 1, day 2.
He still really is.
He was
between
taking
him
a
and
lot
Kalen,
of reps. Yep.
Honestly, between him and Kalen, that's really where it's switching in between. And both of them are so fun to watch and how explosive they are. I mean, imagine getting praised on by Christian McCaffrey.
Can you believe that? Yeah, I mean, it's just like being taught by Mike Evans. It's the same with
same parallel there.
Yeah, exactly.
I keep thinking that too.
Yeah. We have such veteran players that kids grew up looking towards. So it's I can't imagine what it's like for Kaylon Black. I can't imagine what it's like for Strib.
Yeah. Maybe we'll get to hear from them sometime soon. Yeah. I think that would be a really cool insight to hear. And I totally agree on that point that the two parallels between having two great veterans and honestly, every veteran on this team is so great and you can learn so much from. So that's really cool. And that's my offensive highlight is just watching Kaylon Black. What is your offensive highlight?
Okay. So my offensive highlight, I've already said, so I'm not going to harp on it too much, but it's Dejon Stribling. Yeah. It's definitely Strib. Yeah, he has been a constant target from day one. He has had targets from Brock. He's had targets from Mac. And since Pearsall, Ricky is going to be out for a little bit with his swollen knee, he's going to get a lot more reps as well. Yeah. Just, from a smaller number of receivers being in that rotation. So I think we're going to see a lot more from him over the next couple days at training camp.
Because we've already seen so much.
I know.
There's so much more to see.
There is.
And then let's flip it over. Let's go defense.
Yeah.
My favorite defensive highlight so far has been Renardo Green's pass breakup against Evans that happened today.
Yeah.
I mean, there's been so many you could choose from because secondary really has been so great. But this one just drew so much reaction from the crowd, right? You had the crowd going, ooh, on this ball that was a deep ball intended for Evans, and Renardo Green, keeping up with Evans' long strides, was able to bat it out of his hands. And I think what was super cool about it is we actually got to hear from Green after practice, and he only praised Evans and just said that matchup is going to make him better. He said, just seeing the moves that he is able to do at his size, just like a lot of guys can't, and seeing how he tracks the ball, I just like going against Mike Evans and competing with Mike because we're two competitors and two dogs, and dogs recognize dogs, and dogs are going to sharpen each other's swords. Dogs. I love it. But I just think it's really cool to hear that, right? Yeah. From someone on the other side of the ball going against Mike Evans is even learning, just like we mentioned earlier. But it was really a great play. And again, to keep up with Mike Evans and his size and his stature and his long strides, and he was able to keep up with him, like, good on you, Renardo Green.
Exactly. And then for me, it was, I'm just going to say the linebackers. I'm just going to say our linebackers. Yes, all of them. But man, Fred and Dre, we knew it was going to be a happy reunion and we saw it during OTAs. But to, for these practices to be open and to see their interactions and how they both are leading the rest of the linebackers too. There's eight linebackers out there right now. So it's a big group. And they are truly leading the way. We saw a lot. A few times in the 5-man down, we saw a lot of great pressure coming from the secondary.
We did,
especially Brock today. Had to throw the ball away a couple times from our just great defense on our secondary. So the linebackers is where it's going to start on our defense, and very excited to see it already coming together so early in training camp.
Yeah, it's so great. Continuity, the word of the day.
Yes, continuity.
I love it. Anyway, so going on to something that I touched on earlier, a little bit about Jacob Cowing. I actually got to catch up with him at practice. I wanted to take a step away from the day-to-day of camp and talk a little bit about his journey now going into year 3 of the NFL. So catch this interview right now. When people think of Jacob Cowing, they think speed. What's something about Jacob Cowing that people don't know about you?
I got a funny side to me, so when you get to know me, I like to crack jokes, have fun. As a football player, we go through a day-to-day grind every day. Things get tough, things get hard, but me, I like to have fun. I like to joke around with the guys and keep, that little kid that's inside of me and bring it out to the field with the other guys and just, have fun and enjoy what we do.
Yeah, I mean, you guys got a great job hooked up here, so can't not have fun out here. But coming out, you were a 2-star recruit out of high school. Did that chip on your shoulder ever leave?
Never, ever. That stuck with me since that came out, or even when I came out of high school. I didn't really have that much, attention on to me when it came to the football, and I had a few schools that were interested, D2, one D1, that was UTEP, and ever since then, that's kind of been my motivation, just to prove to myself and to prove to everybody, I do have what it takes to, be a professional and get my name to the top one day.
Yeah, 100%. Now, in your career, what was that point for you where you felt that people started believing in you? Was it UTEP, Arizona, draft? Are you still working for that,
I think for me, I'm still working for it. I think the job's not done. As I got into the league, I mean, yeah, that's one foot in the door, but at the same time, there's still a lot to be proved. There's still lots of things that I need to prove to myself that, I can, reach the full potential of myself. And, it's a day-to-day grind, a daily thing that, I still have that chip on my shoulder. I'm just trying to prove to myself.
Yeah. So last year didn't go the way that you had hoped after an unexpected setback post-injury. What was that year like for you watching instead of playing?
Yeah, it was tough. It was tough for me. With college, I played all 5 years of my collegiate career. Coming in first year of the league, I played that, did the whole season. And then that was my first time, not ever stepping on the field for a whole year straight. So that did take a big toll onto me. But I think it also took me, back to my roots and, back to when I was in high school, and not a lot of people they forgot about me and didn't know who I was and stuff like that. So I think it brought me back to that, and then it brought that fire back into me and that, that chip back onto myself, and just that I got to prove to myself again, why am I here, why am I doing this, and just, grind and, just be the best that I can be.
Yeah. Now this offseason has been really important for you, talking about lighting that fire back into you. Coach Shanahan actually mentioned in a press conference the other day how he has noticed the work that you've put in this offseason. What does that mean to you, hearing that from your head coach?
I thought at one point, people weren't noticing the work that I was doing. So hearing it from him and him noticing the work that I was putting in, it does mean a lot to me. And it didn't go unnoticed. And, I do appreciate him, taking the time out of his day to see what I do and how hard I work.
Yeah. Speaking of this offseason, we had a lot of movement come in that receiver room, a lot of competition now here in training camp. How are you approaching it when it feels like every rep matters?
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, we have a great group in that receiver room, and everyone likes to compete. Everyone likes to be the best that they can be, and at the end of the day, I'm a competitor, so I like to compete. I like to put my best foot forward, and that's just what I'm going to continue to do. And I like to ask questions. I like to chop it up with Mike, chop it up with Christian Kirk, and these are vets who have done it for a long time, and so I like to pick their brains too and add things to my game that I see with them and see what I can do to get myself better as well.
Yeah. Anything specific you've gotten from Mike or Christian that you're taking and adding to your game?
I would say definitely just speed and releases. A release was a big thing for me that I asked them, and how they can just create separation. That was the big thing I've noticed with them, that they create separation a lot. And from the jump from their careers and up until now, and they're still creating separation, which is something I admire from those guys. So I just want to take that advice from them and apply it to my game and see what I can do.
Yeah. And we've noticed you stay late every now and then. You're putting in that extra work. You're staying late after practice, getting a few more reps in. What's one part of your game, like you mentioned the separation, but something else that you are specifically working on?
I would say special teams, punt return, being able to track the ball, looking at coverages, how guys fly down the field and how they pursue and stuff like that. So I'm trying to add that too and get better at that. And I'm trying to make something shake. So I heard that punt return hasn't happened here in quite some time. So I'm trying to be the first one to do it.
Let's do it. Let's make that history. So you're entering year 3, first few years in the NFL. What's one thing about yourself that you've learned throughout these last few years?
About myself, being patient. I think that's the number one thing I've learned about myself. Last year was like again, I learned that being patient within myself and not trying to rush into anything and not trying to be someone else, just be myself, and just have love for myself as well too, and understand what I do, put in the work and stuff like that, and it's just one of those things, just love yourself and just continue to work.
Love that mantra for yourself. And come this season, obviously training camp, we're getting through it, then we're getting into week 1 down in Australia, a lot of travel coming up for us. What's one thing at the end of the season, if we're sitting here, that you want people to say about Jacob Cowan?
He's a great guy. He's a great competitor. You know, he loves the Bay Area fans. He loves the faithful. I'm a great teammate as well too, and he just likes to have fun.
Catch up with Jacob and just hear from his perspective, his journey, and everything that he has been through, and you know, the hard work it takes to get back to the spot and confidence that he's building every single day.
Yeah.
It also was really funny. I love that he mentioned he's got a little bit of personality. So if you
does.
guys are ever around him, he said, listen for a joke or two. So.
Yeah. One of my first interactions with actually Isaac Garendo was him hyping up Jacob Cowing. Isaac is a big Cowing fan.
I was about to say that. The fact that you just said that. So when I came up to them at practice, it was them two hanging out.
They're besties.
They're besties. Yeah.
So catch both of them together.
So maybe they're funny together, you guys.
Exactly. Exactly.
So definitely stay tuned for that.
Cool.
But closing out, what's to come? We have the first episode of The Build coming to you guys shortly. And also, first day of pads are soon to come.
Yeah. Now, The Build. The build is super, super exciting because we get to kind of follow the team up until the regular season. Our studios team works so hard on that. If you're ever at training camp, you'll see 3 cameras out there. So it is going to be really exciting. We're getting some snippets of it, and it's once it gets released to the faithful, they're gonna love it.
No, super cool things to come, especially pads on Friday.
Yes.
So super excited to see that. Super excited to see the faithful back here to watch the boys in the pads. Aubrey and I will bring you guys more content coverage on the rest of training camp to come. We've been posting articles on 49ers.com. We had a collabed article today.
Yep.
So that was always fun to do together. Thank you for joining us on today's episode of The Saloon presented by Cisco. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube, SiriusXM, and all your favorite podcast platforms.
And make sure you have your notifications turned on for The Saloon so you don't miss an episode.
Yes. Go Niners.
Go Niners.